Hello, talk about life. Welcome back. We got a new podcast coming at you. Two topics I want to discuss today. Could be concepts that you are taking advantage of currently. Could be something you're doing without even knowing. Or it could be brand new and maybe you can implement this and reap some benefits. But I just wanted to discuss it. It's something that I've been working on. And it's kind of my take on the situation. So, anyways, let's get down to business and talk about life here. So I want to discuss the importance of hitting heavy weight and hitting it often, okay? So, in particular, I am kind of focusing on cleans, snatches, and any kind of overhead work. I also would like to kind of supplement in there the D-ball as well. I don't necessarily want to focus this on squats because I feel that your legs are already going to be getting taxed enough with cleans and with snatches, wall balls, thrusters, etc., etc. But here we go. What do I mean? So the importance of hitting heavy weight often. So a couple different things. I think that for one, hitting heavy weight often obviously really is great on developing, thick, dense muscle fiber. You're training your body to use, especially with the Olympic lifts, clean snatches. You're training your body to recruit so much muscle, so much force to successfully hit these lifts that you're just consistently kind of tearing down and rebuilding that muscle rather than, maybe keeping it on the lighter side and doing more volume, more repetition. Maybe you're not creating as much of an anabolic response to that. I think that by hitting heavier weight often, you're just going to reap more benefit. Obviously, responsibly though, listen to your body. That's another big thing about all of this, hitting heavy weight. If there's days that your body just doesn't feel like it's at 100% or 90% or 80% or whatever, and hitting a heavy lift is literally going to decapitate you, well, it's relative. Hit what you can, because something different could be a lighter weight could potentially be a heavy weight that day. So whatever. So work within your means. But I think shying away from it altogether isn't necessarily the best train of thought. I think that you should still try to chase after those Olympic lifts. Currently, I would say I'm Olympic lifting probably 4 to 5 times a week. So I like to do like cleans on Mondays, snatches on Tuesdays, some sort of like stability work on Wednesdays, and then I kind of rest on Thursdays. Sometimes I don't, but let's just say rest on Thursday, and then a clean or a snatch on Friday and Saturday, respectfully. So been doing that, and I'm constantly trying to get up in weight percentages, right? Because again, like I want to be hitting those heavy lifts often. I want to be recruiting as much muscle fiber as I can, and also, with the Olympic lifts, they're fast, they're explosive, they're dynamic. So I think that it also, in terms of recruiting muscle fiber, it is kind of helping work those fast twitch muscle fibers and giving you a little bit more explosiveness and a little bit more just explosive force, right? Like I had a kid recently, he brought up a pretty good point that I've never even thought of. He asked me what my vertical jump was. And I've literally never been asked that question because I don't scream athleticism when you look at me, but I was like, I have no idea. And he brought up the point that he thinks that if you can Olympic lift, with heavy weight, and you can you can self-generate so much force off the floor, you could probably have a pretty good vertical jump. And after he said it, I kind of thought to myself, like, geez, maybe he's right. I never even thought of that. So, I just think that by getting to those weights often, it's going to help out a great deal. And also another thing I want to touch upon is confidence, right? So your confidence a lot of people say confidence is a skill, right? And sure, absolutely, it's a skill. You can sharpen it, you can work on it, you can increase it, make it better. Um, if you can get yourself to continuously get up to those heavier weights on a week-to-week basis, you'll be building confidence with those weights, right? Which is huge, which is just like, it's going to help you immensely because now, like I've said in earlier podcasts, weight that seemed heavy at one point no longer feels that heavy, right? Mentally, you've made that decision to take that number and to put it into the easy pile in your mind, right? So 200-pound squat clean for you at one point was a really difficult weight, and heck, maybe it's still your 80%, right? But you've made that transition from saying like this is heavy to now this is easy, right? So it's still the same 80%. It's still 20. It's still X number off of your 1 rep max, but you've made the transition to saying this is easy. Your confidence is built, and now you have that faith in yourself that you can hit that pretty regularly. So I think that that's huge. I think that barbell confidence is in doing that stuff will take you a long way. So I think that's really good. I wanted to touch upon that. And I think that one reason why this came to my mind was because I've been kind of on a road to, not road to redemption, but just trying to get back to the weights that I used to hit when I was training full-fledged, right, when I was all in. And so my lifetime PR snatch was 262. And since coming back, it's a great debate, right? Because whenever you come back from anything, whether you're coming back from an injury or let's say you're coming out of retirement or whatever it is with the sport, right? Or maybe you're just taking a long time off. Mentally, right, you always have that mindset of, well, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this, I could do that. Oh, I could do 10 muscle ups in a row back then. Oh, I could, squat clean 300 pounds. And we are all, well, I assume we're all victim of this, is that the day you come back, right, you could have just taken 2 years off. You still think, oh, I can still clean 300 pounds. Oh, I can still do 10 muscle ups. And then you literally get your freaking teeth kicked in when you can't. And you're really just kind of setting yourself up for failure because, I mean, in really no way, shape, or form should you be able to clean 300 pounds after taking 2 years off or 3 years off or whatever, right? Because when you were probably hitting those weights regularly, you were probably training every single day, and now you haven't trained in 300 plus days, so it's no fault. It's okay that you can't hit those weights, but we all set ourselves up for failure by still insisting that we can, and I'm no different. So when I started snatching again after a period of time off, I was barely getting up to 225, and that was frustrating. That was irritating because, again, mentally I knew that I was stronger at one point, and I could definitely hit those weights pretty consistently, and now I'm struggling. So I was pissed, but whatever, right? That's not the moral of the story. So I started kind of doing those Olympic lifts more frequently. I started trying to hit those heavy weights more often, and I was finally able to build back up to 245, which is another good number. And then this past Saturday at one of the classes I was at, I was in a great environment. It was a big barbell class, a lot of people surrounding us, and I was able to work up to 255, right? First time I've touched that since May of 2017, right? So I was fired up. And then I took like one attempt at 260, and even though I failed the attempt, it still felt great, right? It felt great. I was so excited. I was so motivated, right? And again, it's all like psychological, right? So yesterday, so today's Wednesday, so yesterday was Tuesday, so a couple days in between, I walked into the gym and I just had it on my mind that I was going to get back up there. I was going to hit at least 260 and, maybe go for broke and try something heavier, right? So doing it all, working up, right? And I I make a silly jump, right? I'm just making literally 20-pound jumps. So 205, 225, 245, and then I'm just like, screw it, 265, right? 3-pound lifetime PR. Thing flies right up. I mean, I catch it. It might get a little sloppy. I kind of walked it out, but whatever. Stood it up, right? So 265 pounds, 3-pound PR, right? And nothing changed, right? It's not like I went through a strength cycle between this past Saturday and yesterday, Tuesday. It's not like I did heavy snatch pulls on Monday. It's not like I did anything, right? If anything, Monday was Labor Day, so I was kicking back. I had some crappy food, whatever. I was in a relaxed state of mind. And I snatched the 265, right? So the only thing that really changed was my confidence level. On Saturday, I was reintroduced to the confidence that I could still move those weights. I could pull it off the floor. I could get it over my head, and I was almost catching it, right? So yesterday I go in, and I'm able to hit it. And literally, the only thing that changed was my confidence level. By hitting heavy weight often, or as, heavy weight to the individual, you build that confidence. You start to gain that momentum in yourself. And again, those weights that are in maybe a heavy pile in your mind slowly start to integrate into a light pile in your mind. You're making the decision. You're the one that has the big claw that's grabbing the weight and extracting it from heavy and inserting it into light pile. But yeah, you are able to make those strides, and I was pumped. I was freaking fired up. Maybe I should have tried for more. I actually kind of pulled the plug right after that. But like I said, my confidence at 265 was there, was spot on, and I knew I could do it, and I hit it, and I was really excited. So that's what I wanted to express to you guys, was that if you could start. Maybe, like I said, maybe you already do it, but if you could attempt to visit heavyweight more often, I think that, one, from muscle anatomy standpoint, I think you would build more muscle, probably build more strength at a quicker rate. You'd develop a little bit more fast twitch, muscle recruitment, but also your confidence, your mental state with numbers would definitely improve, in my opinion. I think that you would have those numbers that might have a scary aura about them in your mind might slowly start to take. You might knock them down a pinch when you start hitting numbers that are pretty close to that. So that was one bullet point. And then quickly, I just want to touch on the second one here, and this is kind of my go-to thing lately, is doing the heavyweight in a fatigue state. I know I talked about this in another podcast, but I really, 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 really think it's important. Being able to do those lifts, those heavier weights in a fatigue state, I think has colossal benefits. I just think it's so like beneficial, rewarding in a ton of different categories. So again, reverting back to everything, right? And I've talked about this before. Metcons that have heavy weight, you'll blow right through it, right? Because again, hitting 80% when you're fresh as a daisy, that's probably somewhat difficult, but you get through it. If you were to do a Metcon that, God forbid, had your 80% amongst a whole bunch of other cardiovascular movements, you'd probably be shitting your pants, because you're like, crap, I can barely move 80% when I'm fresh. How am I supposed to do it in a fatigue state? If you can start training, if you can start making your training fatigue state training with those heavy lifts, you will go into those Metcons with so much momentum that you'll smash it. I believe, in my opinion, I can't guarantee success there, but that's my 2 cents. Also, I think that it will, like I've been referencing, when you get exhausted and you can still hit those lifts, it will build your confidence. So when you get to go into a movement fresh, you hit those numbers with ease. Again, not anything has changed drastically, just your mindset is probably going to revert back to, well, I have hit, 225 for 3 after doing, 10 bar facing burpees and 10 wall balls. Well, I hit 3 pretty easily. I know I can hit 235 fresh, right? Even though you may have never even hit 235, just having the confidence of saying, well, I was breathing heavy, I was literally, gasping for air after bar facing burpees and wall balls, and I still was able to squeak out 3 singles at 225. By process of elimination, in my mind, I'm going to say that I can hit 235. I just think it would help out. Again, you're attracting those numbers even though you've never even hit them, just by the confidence that you're building. So I think that is awesome. I mean, yesterday, that was so to revert back to my my example here. On Saturday, the class I did in the morning was purely an Olympic lifting class, so that was all we focused on was the snatch, and I was able to build up to some numbers there, which was great. And then yesterday, I was doing every 90 seconds, I was doing 10 toe to bar directly into 3 single snatches, and I was trying to go up by 20 pounds. So, or I was just throwing 10-pound plates on there every time. So 135, 155, 175, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously, and it's funny because the first few minutes always are a breeze because you have like so much time and you're pretty fresh. But then as the clock continues to tick and the weight goes up, like your cycle time starts going down, so you start breathing a little bit more and more and more. But I got to the point where, like I said, I was at 245, and I kind of was just like, you know what, we'll just go for 265. I'm not worried about failing because, one, it's kind of also too like a crutch, right? So you don't mind failing like a 1-rep max when you're in a fatigue state because of the fact you're in a fatigue state. Like, it gives you that out of saying, oh, well, I could, if I hit it, it's great because I'm tired. If I miss it, it's okay because I'm tired. Whereas, like, if you're going into a day like with no other intentions but to hit a 1-rep max, and that's the only movement you're doing, that's your only focus, you almost feel like kind of harsher on yourself if you miss. So, I just made the jump 245 to 265, and that minute I skipped the toe to bar. I just wanted to take a solid crack at the 265, and like I said earlier, I hit it. So I think that doing things in a fatigue state amplifies your confidence because you're able to hit those weights under stress, and like I just stated, it gives you kind of that out almost as well, which it shouldn't be an excuse every single time you lift, but it does give you that kind of sense of, well, it's okay if I miss this because this is maybe 90% of my max, and I am doing it tired. I am doing it breathing heavy, sweaty hands, whatever. And heck, maybe that will help you hit more weight. So I don't want to beat it to death because I know I've discussed this stuff before. It's just my 2 cents. It's just stuff that I've been implementing that has been working well for me. And I will say that it does take time. If you do plan on trying this stuff on your own, it does take time to build up. When I first started trying to hit heavyweight often and doing it in fatigue state, it was freaking kicking my ass because I wasn't used to trying to cycle barbells amongst a ton of other conditioning. So doing, 20 wall balls right into, 5 single squat cleans at, 185. I wasn't used to going into it after already blasting my legs and having my heart rate jacked up. So take your time with it, and I think that after a while you will adapt to it, and you could reap some serious benefits from it. I've been doing it now probably a month and a half, 2 months, and it's going well. So that is all for today, guys. I appreciate you checking in and listening. If you think that the concepts are interesting and you decide to implement it, great. Let me know how it goes. If you think it is crap and you never want to listen again, great. I wish you the best. Questions, comments, concerns, happy to help. Otherwise, guys, have a great day. I appreciate you listening. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay fit. Talk about life. Talk to you later.